The Center for Applied Special Technology, CAST, is a not-for-profit educational research organization located in Wakefield, Massachusetts. CAST developed UDL as an approach to teaching, learning, and assessment. UDL focuses educators on developing flexible curricula that provide students with multiple ways of accessing content, multiple means for expressing what they learn, and multiple pathways for engaging their interest and motivation. CAST's dream of UDL is for each student to have access to the curriculum in a way that promotes the most learning for that individual. By incorporating the 3 principles of UDL into curriculum planning, teachers increase their ability to customize their curricula and to meet the needs of the diverse learners in their classes. The first principle is to provide multiple means of representation. Learners differ in the ways that they perceive and comprehend information that is presented to them. Also, learning and transfer of learning occurs when multiple representations are used because it allows students to make connections within as well as between concepts. In short, there is not one means of representation that will be optimal for all learners. Providing options for representation is essential. To support diverse recognition networks, teachers should provide multiple examples, highlight critical features, provide multiple media and formats, and support background context. The second principle is to provide multiple means of action and expression. Learners differ in the ways that they can navigate a learning environment and express what they know. It should be also recognized that action and expression require a great deal of strategy, practice, and organization, and this is another way in which learners can differ. In reality, there is not one means of action and expression that will be optimal for all learners. Providing options for action and expression is essential. In order to support diverse strategic networks, teachers should provide flexible models of skilled performance, provide opportunities to practice with supports, provide ongoing relevant feedback, and offer opportunities for demonstrating skill. The third principle asks that teachers provide multiple means of engagement. Affects represents a crucial element to learning, and learners differ markedly in the ways in which they can be engaged or motivated to learn. There are a variety of sources that can influence individual variation in effect, including neurology, culture, personal relevance, subjectivity, and background knowledge, along with a variety of other factors presented in these guidelines. In reality, there is not one means of engagement that will be optimal for all learners in all contexts. Providing multiple options for engagement is essential. In order to support diverse, effective networks, teachers should offer choices of content and tools, offer adjustable levels of challenge, offer choices of rewards, and offer choices of learning context. Powerful digital technologies applied using UDL principles enable easier and more effective customization of curricula for learners. Advances in technology and the learning sciences have made on-the-fly individualization of curricula possible in practical, cost-effective ways, and many of these technologies have built-in supports, scaffolds, and challenges to help learners understand, navigate, and engage with the learning environment. CAST's dream of UDL is for each student to have access to the curriculum in a way that promotes the most learning for that individual. The goal of education is the development of expert learners, something that all students can become. Expert learners are defined by 3 major components. Expert learners bring considerable prior knowledge to new learning and activate that prior knowledge to identify, organize, prioritize, and assimilate new information. They recognize the tools and resources that would help them find, structure, and remember new information. They know how to transform new information into meaningful and usable knowledge. Expert learners also formulate plans for learning. They devise effective strategies and tactics to optimize learning. They organize resources and tools to facilitate learning. They monitor their progress. They recognize their own strengths and weaknesses as learners, and they abandon plans and strategies that are ineffective. Lastly, expert learners are eager for new learning and are motivated by the mastery of learning itself. They are goal-directed in their learning. They know how to set challenging learning goals for themselves and know how to sustain the effort and resilience that reaching these goals will require. They can monitor and regulate emotional reactions that would be impediments or distractions to their successful learning. primary networks, structurally and functionally distinguishable but closely connected and functioning together, are equally essential to learning. We identify these networks by terms that reflect their functions: the recognition, strategic, and effective networks. The fundamental nature of the recognition, strategic, and effective networks form a framework we can use to analyze our students' individual strengths and weaknesses and understand their individual differences. Recognition networks are specialized to sense and assign meaning to patterns we see. They enable us to identify and understand information, ideas, and concepts. Affective networks are specialized to evaluate patterns and assign them emotional significance. They enable us to engage with tasks and learning and with the world around us. Lastly, strategic networks are specialized to generate and oversee mental and motor patterns. They enable us to plan, execute, and monitor actions and skills. Certain instructional techniques are very effective in supporting students as they learn to recognize patterns. Other techniques are better suited to supporting students as they learn strategic skills or as they build engagement with learning. We can accommodate diverse learners by using a repertoire of teaching strategies suited to each of the brain networks. Multicultural education incorporates the idea that all students, regardless of their gender and social class, their ethnic, racial, or cultural characteristics, should have an equal opportunity to learn in school. The UDL framework encourages creating flexible designs from the start that have customizable options which allow all learners to progress from where they are now and not where we would have imagined them to be. The options for accomplishing this are varied and robust enough to provide effective instruction for all learners. This toolkit provides a wealth of resources for teachers interested in implementing UDL into their classrooms, including literacy tools, graphic organizers, math tools, study skills, tools, and more. Palos Verdes Intermediate, PVIS, could benefit from the resources provided in this site, specifically the Study Skills section. In our current year's goals to encourage students to develop effective, independent study skills, many of the provided teaching techniques and activities can be directly implemented into our classrooms. This site provides students with opportunities to discover the world through virtual field trips, games, and interactive maps. The History Department, specifically at PVIS, could incorporate these virtual field trips in their curriculum to support the diverse learning of students. They could also use them as inspiration for students to develop representations of their own as means of extracurricular development. This article includes literatures and presentations created by educator professionals for seminars based on UDL. PVS can use aspects of this article during our monthly department meetings and grade level meetings, each week as a refresher course for essential implementation of UDL principles within our classrooms. Successful learning experiences challenge and support each learner appropriately and adjust as the learner changes over time. The goal of UDL is to provide every student this kind of customized and responsive experience. My goals for UDL include working collaboratively with my colleagues to incorporate the fundamentals within our school as a whole. Also, I'd like to provide for my students' diverse needs by applying UDL lesson planning principles within my own pedagogy. The universal design for learning has huge potential to transform and change how we run our classroom and look at student progress and learning. I am excited to see these effects in my classroom and our school.